This is, the first chance your team gets to play outside of McHale Center. What's something that you're hoping to see out this weekend?
Well, you're right, and that's always an initial challenge for every team. Sometimes you get that away game under your belt or a neutral game under your belt a little bit earlier. In our case, we've had an opportunity to play 6 in a row at home, but it is different, and I think it really allows you as a coach and I think a team to grow. And not only are we playing one game away from McHale, but we're going to get 3 games in 4 days away from it. But it'll be a challenge for our freshmen for sure. But every team's kind of facing the same thing, and I think the fact that we're in Anaheim, my hope is that we have a lot of our fans there, which should maybe cushion the fact that we're not, playing in front of 14,000 people here at McHale. But it is different, and I think for us to not acknowledge that would be foolish, especially in our case with so many new faces. But the other part for us is a lot of our new faces are guys that have been on the road before. And I think that when you look at our group, that's partly what you're hoping is that the guys that have played in these types of tournaments away from home, that they can help the younger guys. And I have great confidence in our younger guys; they'll be fine.
Over the last couple of years, you've struggled in mid-season tournaments. What about it makes it such a challenge for your team?
Got to be ready to go. In the last 2 years, in particular. We played in some heavyweight tournaments as well. Last year, you can just put that up and just say we did the best we could because the field and what we had and where we were, it wasn't going to be a fair fight. So got to be ready. And I think we're more ready this time around. And we've talked a little bit about it to our guys that we want to get back to playing well in these types of tournaments. We had 2 stretches. One stretch where we did really play well in these types of tournaments, and then most recently when we haven't. Again, it's hard for me to talk about last year based on the field and who our team was.
Yeah, when you look back, you had a couple of years, with 17-18 with Ayton and the Bahamas, and then 16-17 with Lowry in Las Vegas. Tough situations. Was there anything about that with what you're talking about? Was that team those teams not as ready or not in the right frame of mind? Or
No, Lowry's year, we lost to Butler, who I think Butler was a really high seed that year in the NCAA tournament, and that was a championship game. That was a great game. We could have won, we didn't, but I think it came down to the final minutes there. Lowry fouled out, if I remember that right, but. I wouldn't really talk. I wouldn't put that in the same category maybe as the last 2. But like I said, you have to be ready to go, and you have to be healthy as well. One of the things that really hurt us a couple years ago is, one of our best players, Raleigh at the time, didn't play in the Bahamas, and we really called on some younger guys to step up and threw them in the fire, and it's not an easy thing in November to play well away from home against really good competition. So again, to my point, we have depth. We have some older guys, even though they're new faces that have been in these types of tournaments and away from home, and we're relying on them. And also, we have great confidence in our freshmen. These are guys that have played in big games before they ever came to Arizona. They're used to big crowds. I think they've played everywhere in the world, not just the country. So I think that they come to us more ready than your normal freshman.
Does anything stand out about this group of teams?
Not really. One thing you have to guard against in a tournament like this, there's 7 other teams. We're only going to play, 3, right? So our focus is on Pepperdine, and it doesn't go beyond that. And, if we're the most ready we can be and we play a great basketball game against Pepperdine, then, we'll move forward and play that next day. So, we don't really look at it as a 8-team tournament. I think we look at it as kind of that first game, and then we go from there.
Coaching against Lorenzo, what is that going to be like for you?
I wish we weren't playing them. I consider Lorenzo a great friend. He was here with us, very pivotal pivotal year. Just a tremendous person. We were really lucky to have him, and wish he was here longer than he was. But it's nice that you see him as the head coach here at Pepperdine, and you can start to see his imprints on the program right away. You know, increased talent, playing that fast style that he likes to coach, and they have some very talented players. Offensively, they really score, and you know, maybe with our early season schedule here, they may be the most dangerous offensive team that we've faced.
You talked to Ed Cooley in all these days. Since you're on the other side of the bracket, I don't know if you've been in touch, and particularly it sounded like they had trouble with Penn the other day too.
Yeah, no, I haven't talked to him in a while. I'm sure I'll see him here though.
How do you go about picking the tournaments that you enter for these November, December ones?
You know, I think
You just prefer to be in?
yeah, I mean, we look at, you know, number one, location's big. I think having an opportunity to play in Southern California in front of our fan base here in the West, where we have a lot of our current players and really a lot of our former players' families are there. So I think that's makes a lot of sense. And then, you know, the field. You know, I think this is a very good field. It's more balanced maybe than Maui would have been a year ago for sure. But, you know, you want a blend of a lot of tournaments. And we've pretty much played a round robin. I mean, you can do the math and tell us where we're going to play, right? We play in Maui. We've generally gone to the East to play in the preseason NIT. You know, we've been in Anaheim. We've been in one in Vegas, the Bahamas. So I think for the most part, you know, 2 or 3 of those are pretty much standards.
How much of an eye do you kind of keep at this point of the year on other Pac-12 schools and kind of notice what they're doing in their non-conference schedule?
I mean, we have an awareness. You know, one thing for sure, we want our conference to do well in the months of November and December. You know, Stanford had a really big win against Oklahoma, and I think Stanford really, you look at their early season success, you know, they're better than a lot of people thought that they were, and they're really representing our conference well. I know Oregon's in the Bahamas, and that's always a very difficult field. So, you know, we want Oregon to do well. We want everybody to play well. The more wins that we get as a conference, the more it helps all of us. And the non-conference part of our schedule is very, very important when it comes to the end of our year when, you know, we try to have the most teams in postseason play.
Is that kind of a double-edged sword, though, because you want everybody to be great, it'll make January and February great, but that also means they might be pretty darn good when you get to that point, too.
Yeah, well, we want our conference to be good, though. You know, the days of cheering against each other are over. The minute you have a lot of non-conference losses, you're just not going to get very many teams into the NCAA tournament. There's way too much parity, and there's too many conferences that in their respective non-conference schedules that they thrive. They're winning. They're winning 75, 80% of their non-conference games. They're winning big games. They're winning in these exempt tournaments. And, you know, those are the conferences that are going to get respect and the most teams in the NCAA field. If you don't win games in November and December as a conference, you know, you're going to eventually become a single bid league. And that could be a BCS league. That, you know, you could be in jeopardy of getting 1 or 2 teams in, 2 or 3 teams in. And if we want to get more than that in the NCAA tournament, then these games right now, we have to win. And not just Arizona, everybody.
At this point, Jamal's hit about 100%. I mean, certainly he's playing like it's not an issue.
He is. You know, I was looking at it the other day. He's almost at about 70% of our practices he's practiced in, just about 70%. So if you judge us on like the last month as we were playing games, you know, at that point he had really been practicing a little over half of our practices. And that's not enough, both for him and for our team. I go back to the Chico State game. You may not even remember it, but, you know, I really felt like, you know, everybody was a little bit awkward out there just because, you know, Jamal was playing and he really hadn't practiced a whole lot. So, but now we're at a different level with him. We've played 6 games. He's practiced consistently over the last 2.5, 3 weeks and played in the games. He's more comfortable. Certainly, to answer your question, I think he's more healthy than he's been since, really about 2 months ago. And we're looking to get him more minutes. I mean, you can't play him 16 minutes a game based on, I think he's leading the nation in assist turnover ratio. He's shooting over 50% from three, maybe our best low post passer. He makes great decisions. He moves the ball. When he's out there, the ball moves easy. And he's learning our defense. But I think that's one of the good parts to our depth, that we have to get him some more minutes, and that will happen.
Yeah, we talk about Zeke being kind of a little bit of a surprise on the outside. Do you feel that way about Jamal, that maybe he's even better? Because he had all that injuries and, things to deal with at Kentucky. Yeah,
I think it's hard to judge him at Kentucky because he went through a lot, physically. So, he's healthy right now, knock on wood, and he's a really good player. He's definitely not a surprise. I mean, really, from the onset, as early as June and July when he first came to campus, you could really tell that his shooting, and we were familiar with Jamal out of high school and really knew him well, watched him play a lot.
I seem to recall a couple years ago when you had to play that game with Butler when you played on Thanksgiving Day. And I remember Reynolds was telling me you actually had Thanksgiving dinner earlier because you didn't want to do that for the pregame meal. I didn't know if that's in effect this week, or do you have anything scheduled like that?
Well, this tournament it's really nice because Saturday is a day off from games, so it gives us an opportunity to really go out as a team and have our dinner. We're going to do a version of Thanksgiving on Thursday, but you're right. Not only do we play a game, but it's at 8 o'clock, so kind of take that for what it is. Saturday is more of the day that we can, I think, have that team meal.
Because with the pregame, is it a matter of routine with your pregame meal? Guys want their certain things, or I don't know, nutritionally, or you do worry about it's too heavy if you eat a traditional thing?
Yeah, I mean, if they eat, sweet potato pie, pumpkin pie, a lot of stuffing, a couple of helpings of turkey, I mean, everybody knows how that feels, right? I mean, I don't think we'll be as ready as we would have been if we just kind of stay with our normal. But I'm sure we'll have some version of a Thanksgiving there on Thursday. And like I said, Saturday we can really point towards, taking the guys out, which we already have planned on doing.
Do you have an opinion on kind of trying to get these tournaments in particular where you're playing 3 games in 3, or in this case 4 days, versus maybe the ones where you can play, 2 campus games and 2 in terms of the value or the benefit to the program in that sense?
No, there's every tournament has their way. We've played in both of them.
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
Coach.